Hello everybody, we're going to be taking a look at my cover of Voices by Saosin. Just kind of go track by track. Here's the drums. I've got all of these MIDI velocities being dealt with later on in the chain. So yeah, what you're actually hearing is not all velocity at 127 for these MIDI notes. So, yeah, I mean, I pretty much, kind of tried to really listen through the track and make sure that, I'm embodying what going on within the song. So there's, how all the MIDI, that's where it started. And then I've got those going into MT Power drum kit. I've got some pre-compression going on there, which actually, you'll see I'm not really processing the kick much at all. Just, didn't occur to me as something I felt like I needed to do. If the kick sounds like crap, just let me know in the comments and we can talk about that. I've got the snare, just a little bit of, high shelving attenuation going on for the cymbals. I think, huge, just a huge boost at like 14.5K. And then a high pass at 750, I think is where I've got that set at. On the, yep, I mean, that's pretty much it. For the other cymbals, beyond what the MT Power drum kit offers, I'm using this Legend, which these are not velocity sensitive, they just attenuate volume according to the velocity going in to that plug-in. And I've got a MIDI note route and transpose and filter, so that way, I'm not actually triggering the kick, snare, any of these. I'm really just borrowing the selection of cymbals that it has to offer. And then those are all being summed along with this, which is a snare physical modeling plugin. I've got that mixed up full, and I'm using that as a send track within the drum bus, and that's going to a Thrill Seeker VBL by Variety of Sound. Awesome set of plugins. I'm sure a lot of y'all know about, but if you don't, he's got some really great sounding, and really diverse, range of compressors and harmonic enhancers and whatnot. Moving on, so yeah, I guess here, really quick, I want to go back to this snare buzz. This thing will solo this track. This is what it's adding. I've dropped down the automation lanes for a couple of different parameters that are in snare buzz, and I'm modulating the low pass filter. So I'll open that up when the song's at a higher intensity, and I want that to, kind of bring a little bit more high-end energy into the drum performance, as well as there's not a way to access it here, but if you open it up and you see it, what you have available to automate, you'll see that there's a width parameter, and so I'm modulating, or automating rather, the low pass and the width of the room, so that way you'll get these changes in vibe in the song. So that's what it's adding. If you listen to it in context, listen to this. See, like when it's not there, it's just like, man, wait, what's missing? It sounds like a real. It makes it sound more believable. It sounds phenomenal. So forgive it, I'm kind of blanking on the name of the developer, but this thing's awesome. And so yeah, on the drum bus, I've got another variety of sound. This is their ferric tape distortion saturator, or tape dynamic saturator. Just basically emulating saturated tape. And I'm using the Smack Labs Logic channel for a little bit of tone shaping, and then Analog Obsession's Sweet Drums. And so from there, I will render all this out into a stereo drum file, and I'll drop that into my main project, which is right here. I think I've got another instance of this SSL, just doing another gentle round of processing on it. So those are the drums. And if at any point in time, I want to make some tweaks, I'll just bounce right back over to this other project tab, render it out, save me the processing. Because if I were to leave this open and continue to work on other things in the track, this takes up about 10% of my CPU. If you look over on this performance meter, it just, you can see how much it kind of takes to produce these drums, just as far as a CPU load. Anyway, moving on. So we've got the lead guitars, which I summed those. So those are the lead guitars. I think 2 on the left, 2 on the right, hard pan left and right. And before I rendered those out, I'm pretty sure those are going through their own delay that's tempo synced. Right. So you can hear that kind of bouncing along to the rhythm of the song. And those are Ignite's Emissary amp, dirty channel, and then I put those through Ignite's N80IR impulse response loader, and that's pretty much what's going on there. Moving on, the rhythm guitars are still going through their own impulse response, that way I can make sure that those are still able to sit nicely in the mix. So for those, or for pretty much all of the guitars in this, I've got the cabinet that's sitting on the folder track, and all of the direct out from the amp head, that's actually where I actually recorded from, and then I'm doing the convolution on the folder track. So as far as I'm concerned, I really couldn't tell a difference between having separate cab IRs on each individual child track, or just using the stereo convolver on the master track and just selecting 2, I guess, impulse responses to then just apply to the summed tracks going into it. And then those are going into Ignite's Pultec EQ. If you look, there's a delay which sweeps from 0 milliseconds to 20 milliseconds, and that basically introduces this really subtle comb filtering, where you can actually do some really strong mixing decisions by just having that set. So I'm not doing it here, but I can show you a little bit of what that would sound like if you slowly sweep the delay. It's going to sound like a flanger or a phaser. But when you set it in a certain position, it's more like kind of like leaving like a wah pedal in a certain position that helps the guitar cut through a mix. So listen to this. So, I mean, it depends on what two IRs you're using. Some, you know, combinations of IRs will actually have a very pronounced effect on the output when you're using the subtle delay feature. But I mean, if you're ever having issues getting guitars to cut through your mix and you feel like you can't find the right EQ setting, try something like that. You'd be surprised at just like how separated from anything it'll actually kind of become in context. Yeah, I guess most of the voicing for the rhythm guitars are coming through the EQ on the Pultec. Moving on, we've got the rhythm guitars throughout the verse. And those are all being convolved on the bus. Yeah, I'm using an SSL channel and then a distressor on the clean ones to just get them to sound really nice and chimey. That distressor is a pretty the developers and Trust, they're awesome. Another Smacklab's also SSL channel on that bus as well. And moving on, what else do we got? We covered the lead guitar. And take a look at the vocals. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of they are pretty noisy, I guess. I don't know, I just kind of figure out a way to just kind of make it work. I don't know, I mean, I think in context the vocals don't sound too bad. Yeah, I don't know, they just, like I said, I feel like they kind of are what they are. They are a little noisy, but I like it like that. I don't know, I think doing your own vocals is also, you know, just, it's a really, it's a difficult thing to kind of really nail and get right. So, always looking for suggestions and input on those as well. So here's some of the shakers for the bridge. Super subtle. You can like barely hear them underneath it, but they're there. The subtle touches, it's the little things. What else do we got? Pad that takes you through the bridge. And all the ear candy at the end. Reversed piano. There's like a low A, high E, and maybe there might be a C in there, but yeah. Let's take a look at the bass. So I have a bass guitar, but for a lot of these tracks, I normally just design up a synth sound. I've got a Moog Grandmother sitting right here, and that's what this is for the bass in this song. think I'm using this head crusher, and then it's going in. I think I ran it through again a SansAmp bass driver. I'll normally really just, if I'm doing like a synth bass, I'll typically mangle the crap out of it and render that, and then, you know, throw some more and just keep shaping it. I mean, super gentle at each iteration of processing and then re-rendering, but you know, all to kind of just, you know, not have a single plugin do all the work. I don't think I'm missing anything. All right, so that's a quick recap of the cover of Voices by Saosin. If y'all have any questions, just let me know in the comments. If yeah, I'd love to hear anybody's thoughts, or any, you know, suggestions, any workflow improvements. But be sure to like and subscribe if y'all want any future videos. Hopefully, you know, looking at doing more of these. Whatnot. Anyway, peace.